happening now. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Deputy Prime Minister Freeland are making another pre-budget housing announcement, this time in Vaughan. Let's listen in live.
Thanking the folks who are stepping up to be part of solving the housing crisis. For all that governments can and should be stepping up. The work you're doing, and especially the work you're going to be doing over the coming years, is going to be unbelievably important as you build not just homes for Canadians, but homes that you're going to be able to see yourselves living in as well. That's an important part of this, that it's not just about building homes and great buildings and apartments to rent. It's about making sure that nurses, construction workers, teachers who work in a given city can also live in that given city. And that's something we're all gathered here today. I'm really excited about this announcement today because Canadians need homes they can afford. This is one of the most urgent issues that people are facing. Think about the couple who just had their first kid and don't know if they can afford to upgrade from their one-bedroom condo, or the student who can pay tuition but can't afford the rent near campus, or someone who can simply no longer afford housing in their community at all. It used to be that the deal was if you worked hard at a good job, you could afford a home. That doesn't seem the case anymore. Younger generations are worried that they won't have a life that looks like how they grew up, like what their parents and grandparents had. Well, that's not fair. So we've been stepping up, putting in the work, talking to Canadians, talking to housing experts, talking to builders, so that we could bring the right solutions that meet the moment. So today, we are releasing the most comprehensive and ambitious housing plan ever seen in Canada. It builds on the sizable investments we've made over the years, and it goes a lot further. It's a plan to build housing, including for renters, on a scale not seen in generations. We're talking about almost 3.9 million homes by 2031. Whoa. It's a plan that, at its heart, is a commitment to affordability. Our goal is that no Canadian pays more than 30% of their income towards their home. It's also a plan to make sure that we don't leave the most vulnerable behind, that we keep building housing for people with low incomes, and that we take action to address homelessness so people never have to resort to living in a tent. And it's a Team Canada approach that provides incentives for provinces, territories, builders, and nonprofits to come on board. The math is simple. If we can increase housing supply, we can bring down prices. And we're going to need the know-how, abilities, and determination of workers like the ones here behind me today. I want to give another shout out to the members of the Carpenters Union. Jason, thank you for your leadership specifically. A lot of union workers are going to be part of getting this done. You're going to be very, very busy. The construction industry will need reinforcements to get all this work done. So as part of our plan, we're going to be increasing support for workers in the skilled trades, creating apprenticeship opportunities for the next generation of workers, creating opportunities for young people, and investments to cut red tape for those with foreign credentials. Dans le cadre de notre plan, on va soutenir les travailleurs de la construction pour développer notre main-d'œuvre et bâtir le Canada. We've made a promise to Canadians that we were going to solve the housing crisis. So we rolled up our sleeves and we got to work. No ideas were off the table. No stone was left unturned. I'll let Minister Fraser talk through the details, but this is a comprehensive and detailed plan. Sean, you and your team have been incredibly thorough in how you've brought this together. This isn't simple slogans. It's not some YouTube video filled with half-baked ideas and inaccuracies. This is a serious plan, built after consultation with Canadians, with experts, with builders. It's a plan that's actually going to make a difference in the lives of Canadians. But it will also require provinces and territories to step up and meet the level of ambition that Canadians expect them to. No one order of government can do this on their own. We all have our own levers and our own responsibilities, and Canadians need each and every one of us to step up. Dans le plan qu'on annonce aujourd'hui,
In our plan
il y a
that we're
plusieurs
announcing
mesures qui vont
today,
encourager les
many
provinces, les
measures,
territoires et les municipalités à collaborer
territory,
avec nous pour construire
municipalities, cities to
plus de logements.
collaborate with
Le plan
us.
rend les projets
The
rentables
plan
pour les constructeurs
makes the
pour que les
project
travaux puissent commencer
affordable.
plus
The
rapidement.
work can
On
start.
contribue à protéger
We
et à
contribute
élargir
to
l'accès aux
protect
coopératives
and
et aux
expand
logements abordables. On se
housing,
concentre sur les
affordable
nouvelles
housing,
façons d'utiliser les
concentrate on
terrains
new
publics pour
ways
construire des logements et on
to using
propose
the
plusieurs
fields
solutions
and the land to
innovatrices.
construct new
On a
houses.
besoin de solutions
We
concrètes et
need
c'est exactement ce qu'on
concrete
présente
solutions,
aujourd'hui.
and this is exactly
Tout le
what
monde
we are presented
mérite
today.
d'avoir un chez-soi abordable.
Everybody
On est tous
deserves to have
d'accord là-dessus.
a house that can
Logement,
afford
ça permet aux gens
a
de commencer
house
leur vie et de
for
réussir.
people to start their life and
It's
succeed in
not
their life.
right that housing prices have made cities and a lot of other places out of reach for young people, including millennials and Gen Z. Young people deserve the same freedoms, choices, and opportunities that their parents and grandparents had. We need to make sure we're building a future that is fair for every generation. Today's housing plan is about the next steps we're taking to do just that. And now, before I turn it over to the Deputy Prime Minister, I'm highlighting that right now, as we speak, the Parliament of Canada is working hard under our government to pass legislation that is about workers and it's about supporting the kinds of good, clean jobs that the future is going to bring. And because it is focused on supporting workers and building a stronger, greener future, of course, the Conservatives are doing everything they can to block it. So we are stuck in an all-day vote right now. They had amendments that they even generated possibly by AI to try and slow us down. But we're going to continue to vote and stand up for workers and stand up for the brighter future people have. So you're going to see us voting throughout the morning on our electronic voting apps. And we'll do that before I introduce the Deputy Prime Minister. Merci. Thank you. Christian. Oh, okay. Yep, sure.
Thanks, Prime Minister.
That's right.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Prime Minister. Thanks everyone for being here. Francesco, buongiorno. Mi fa piacere d'essere qua, Avon. It is wonderful to be here today in Vaughan with the Prime Minister, with Sean, with so many of our caucus and cabinet colleagues. It's especially a privilege for me, I think for all of us, to be here with the students, the soon-to-be apprentices at the College of Carpenters and Allied Trades. And I have to say, those conversations we had just a minute ago were really inspiring, really, really moving for me. I talked to one young soon-to-be apprentice called Jordan, and he said he's really excited that one day he is going to be building the schools and the hospitals that his neighbors, his family use, and how proud that makes him. Isn't that a great sentiment? And it is so true. Another student said to me, I asked, how do you guys feel? And I use guys in an inclusive sense. How do you feel about getting a job when you're finished here? And they'll be done in 5 weeks, and then they will be a first-year apprentice. And one student said, I feel really good about it. Canada is a growing country. And if you are a skilled tradesperson, if you are a carpenter, you're going to have a good job. That is so true. And it works the other way too. As a growing country, we need our skilled tradespeople. We need our carpenters. We are literally counting on you to build our growing country. And I just want to say thank you so, so much. I am inspired by every single carpenter, every single apprentice, every single student here, and we all should be, and I think we owe them our thanks. Why do we need them so much? Because we are living in a pivotal moment for millennials and Gen Z. These young Canadians have so much talent and so much potential. But today, too many young Canadians feel as if the deck is stacked against them. They can get a good job, they can work hard, but far too often, the reward of a secure, prosperous, comfortable middle-class life is out of reach. That is not okay. We need the hard work of young Canadians to be rewarded. And that's why we are acting now with purpose to build a Canada that works for younger Canadians, a Canada where they can get ahead and where they know that their hard work will pay off. Nous allons accélérer rapidement
We will
la
accelerate
construction de
quickly
nouveaux
the
logements dans
construction
tout le
of
pays.
new houses.
Nous ferons en sorte que la vie
We'll be
coûte
doing
moins cher.
that
Et
their
nous
life
allons
will be
faire
less
croître
expensive
l'économie d'une manière qui
and the
profite
economy will
à
grow.
tout le monde.
So like that, everybody
One of the biggest
can be
pressures
part of it.
on Canadians right now is housing. And we all know this is especially true for younger Canadians. Faced with a shortage of housing options and rent which is just too high and home prices which feel out of reach, too many younger Canadians feel that that dream of getting your first set of keys, of owning your own house, is just that, a dream. Our government is changing that. Today, we are announcing real, tangible, carefully thought through measures that are going to help more younger Canadians get those first keys of their own. We are using every single tool in our toolbox to deliver housing without delay, because we need to make the dream of home ownership a reality for younger Canadians. And in the budget I'll be tabling on Tuesday, we will reveal more of our plan to ensure fairness for every generation. Notre gouvernement est en fonction
Our
en
government
promettant de renforcer et
promising
d'élargir
to
la
reinforce
classe moyenne.
and expand the
Nous
middle
avons tenu
class.
cet engagement en réduisant
We
la
did
pauvreté, en
Against
particulier
poverty, we
celle
fought
des
against
enfants
poverty,
et des
kids,
personnes âgées,
children,
et
and
en
elder
créant
people.
des millions de bons emplois pour
We
les
are
Canadiennes
creating millions
et
of
les
good jobs
Canadiens.
for Canadians.
Notre travail n'est
Our
pas
work
terminé.
is only starting.
Our renewed focus today is unlocking the door to the middle class for millions of younger Canadians. In everything we do, we dedicate ourselves to making sure a better life is within reach for our younger generations. Because that is what you deserve. That is what you have earned. And that's what your parents and your grandparents want for you too. Thank you very much, and I'll pass it over now to Sean.
All right, the Liberal government making some bold promises this morning, announcing part of their housing strategy, making another pre-budget housing announcement in Vaughan this morning. The Prime Minister dubbing this the most ambitious housing plan Canada has ever seen. His government announcing a sweeping plan to address this country's housing crisis. The government says this plan will create more affordable housing and make it easier for renters. We just heard from the Deputy Prime Minister, Chrystia Freeland, as well. And she says we need to make the dream of home ownership a reality for younger Canadians. This after the government announced a $6 billion housing infrastructure fund. We're still waiting to learn more about this plan. The full cost will be released when the federal government tables its budget next week. So keep it here on CP24 for that. We want to take you back to Vaughan now, where the Prime Minister is taking questions after making a housing announcement. Let's listen in.
Task force of security agencies to lean in to what's happening in terms of foreign interference and security every day during our elections. It's why we have a panel of 5 top civil servants to weigh in on that. No government in the history of the country has ever taken foreign interference as seriously as we have over the past number of years in terms of the institutions, the measures, the new tools that we've developed. But as the Director of CSIS highlighted, there's always more to do, and that's why we're continuing to work to move forward on new initiatives like our National Security Council, for example, that we've created. There are many things to do, and we're going to continue to work on them and keep Canadians and our democracy safe. Okay.
Through the years since 2015, had many conversations with different intelligence agencies and embassies to talk about the foreign and to get new tools. We demonstrated that we take that very seriously. So like that, we are tools with new tools for our democracy. There are new ways and new tools we are using to answer those problems, to protect our institutions or citizenship or citizens, to keep on doing the work because there's always more and more to do. The National Council of Security, there's always more to do, and we'll keep on doing it.
The NDP is expressing reservations about the carbon tax. What does it signal that you have lost many premiers, and now you may be losing the NDP's support for your plan as well?
I feel for the NDP and for Jagmeet. This is a hard moment. There are political headwinds. There's a lot of political pressure. I'm certainly feeling it. Everyone should be feeling it. By folks out there who are worried about affordability, who are worried about climate change. And I don't know, my perspective is this is a time to actually do more to fight climate change, not less. To do more to put money in people's pockets. And it's not a handful of conservative politicians and premiers that are going to turn me away from continuing the fight against climate change, the fight for a better future, and the fight to put more money in people's pockets. So I don't entirely understand the position of the NDP in pulling back both from affordability measures and from the fight against climate change. But I can assure everyone that this government, my government, will continue to step up on the fight against climate change. We'll continue to put more money in families' pockets. As of this coming Monday, the 15th, families right across the country in federal carbon backstop jurisdictions will be receiving the CCR in their bank accounts, the Canada Carbon Rebate, that will give them more money up front than they will be, on average, paying out with the price on pollution. That's extra money for affordability, for groceries, for costs that families are facing. The Conservatives are telling everyone they will take away those carbon rebate checks and step back in the fight against climate change. It's unfortunate that their arguments seem to be resonating with the NDP. But this government will continue to be steadfast in putting more money in 8 out of 10 Canadians' pockets with the Canada Carbon Rebate, particularly middle-income and low-income families, and continuing to fight against climate change. And on the issue of industrial pricing that the NDP is suggesting, that's a great idea. That's why we have it in place. That's why we're doing that. That's why we're making sure that heavy emitters pay for their pollution as well. But it's also why, recognizing that big companies often pass on costs to citizens, that we will be putting more money in citizens' pockets as we continue to step up in the fight against climate change.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We'll take a quick pause for a vote.
Oh, thank you. And with every vote, we're pushing back against the Conservatives, standing against workers and against a greener future for everyone.
Next question.
The carbon tax question in French, please, if you don't mind, Prime Minister.
J'ai un peu de sympathie pour le NPD qui se trouve dans une situation
NDP, I sympathize with them because they are in a tough situation politically. They withdraw their support against climate change, and I don't understand. We are in a crucial moment. The leadership responsible, we have to keep on fighting against climate change with all our tools. And we have to put more money in the pocket of the Canadian families. This is the path we are taking it, and we'll keep on doing it, despite the complainings about the Conservative and the premiers all around Canada. We do have to deliver for the family more money in their pocket with our ambitions against climate change. So I don't understand exactly their position, the NDP, but I can make sure that our government will always be there for people and to do more against the climate change for the next generations. We will put more money in the Canadian people's pocket.
On the carbon pricing, it's not just politicians, it's people as well. A new poll by Liaison Strategies found a majority of Ontario residents rank the cost of living higher than environmental protections, and a plurality are in favor of abolishing the price on carbon, even if it means eliminating their personal carbon price rebate. So can you tell Ontarians why your government's price on carbon is more important than their ability to make ends meet?
But the way we price carbon actually puts more money in the pockets of 8 out of 10 families, like families in Ontario, where the cost of living is high, and where the need to fight climate change is clear with every wildfire, with every flood, with every drought. The Parliamentary Budget Officer confirmed that 8 out of 10 families get more money from the way we're pricing pollution, because we put a price on pollution and then we give that money back to Canadians. And that means as of this Monday, on April 15th, the CCR, the Canada Carbon Rebate, is going to appear in people's bank accounts. They're going to get checks for it. That gives them more money than the average family will pay in carbon price over the next 3 months. That's how it works. It's a measure on affordability, and it's a measure to fight climate change at the same time. And we're going to continue to deliver that money to Canadians, and we're going to continue to stand strong in making sure that pollution isn't free anywhere across the country. And if Mr. Poilievre wants to take away those affordability checks for Canadians and wants to do less on the fight against climate change, because that's what he's proposing, he's going to have to explain that to all Canadians. Because right now, he has no plan for affordability, no plan for climate change, and, as we've seen again today, no plan for housing, which is why we're coming forward with a real announcement today.
On housing infrastructure, Prime Minister, the $6 billion fund you announced last week, Ontario, as you know, has rejected 4 units as of right, which was one of your conditions. The province believes that the fund is subject to some negotiation. So can we get your view? Are the conditions for that fund non-negotiable, or is there room for some conversation?
Oh, that money is going to flow. The only question that Ontario has to ask is whether it wants the money to flow through the province to municipalities or whether it flows directly to municipalities. We know that there are lots of communities, lots of people, lots of regions in this country that are very ambitious about doing everything necessary to get more homes built and to get families into those homes. And we're going to work with them. So the $6 billion on wastewater and housing enabling infrastructure is going to be there to make sure we can grow our housing stock in this country. Ideally, we do it with ambitious partners in the provinces. If the provinces don't want to do it, that just means there's more money to go directly to the municipalities. One way or another, we're going to be there to get housing built for Canadians. It just works a lot better, and to be honest, we can do even more as a country if the provinces decide to roll up their sleeves and get on board fully.
Bonjour, Monsieur Trudeau. À l'approche du budget, dans le contexte actuel également,
approaching the budget, the actual context, will you tax more the richest people? Our first preoccupation is to recognize that the young families and young people across Canada, the system doesn't seem to work anymore, the economy doesn't work anymore. Despite they work hard, they don't get by anymore, and they don't see them becoming owner of their own house. So even to pay the rent is a big challenge. This is why we are here with a budget that will build more houses and will invest on what they do need to be successful. We'll have much more to say on next Tuesday on how we will create that equity in the economy for all the generations. And we will put the highlight on young people for them to succeed in our own economy. We would like to demonstrate, what will impact for them.
All right, the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, taking questions on a number of issues, including housing, foreign election interference. And this is interesting, on the carbon tax, fielding a number of questions on that front. The NDP backpedaling on the carbon tax hike this week. Justin Trudeau says he understands that people are struggling right now, but says this is a time to do more for climate change, not less, and goes on to say he doesn't understand the NDP's position. Now, if you're wondering why the Liberals were taking breaks to be on their phone, that's because they were voting in the House of Commons, virtually, of course. The House is in session this morning.